Unbound 2026. Yeah. I mean, I'm already prepping for 2026 now.
Dude.
You want to do it again?
Yeah. I think after this year, yeah, for sure I want to do it again.
I feel like most people say that they don't want to do it again.
This is sad to say, and I know Scott's already going to give me crap for saying it, but I think that might have been the best performance I've ever had on the bike. What's up, party people? Welcome back to the Bonk Bros podcast. This week, we're talking about the record-breaking year at Unbound. I mean, we're talking sub 9 hours. And the fact that I went 4 minutes faster than Dylan Johnson last year. So, pretty sure that makes me the king of this podcast. Anyways, we also talk about the crazy last stage, or second to last stage at the Giro. Simon Yates, one of the Yates, yeeted. They came back from a third place. It was epic. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Scott's unimpressive results at Pro Road Nats and everything else there is to talk about with Unbound this week. If you like what we're doing, you can jump over to Patreon. You can support us there. You also, with that membership, get your questions bumped to the top of the list. You got priority question answering from us. That's awesome. And some exclusive content. Also, if you want to support this podcast, you can roll over to the SILCA website. It was fun to hang with those guys at Unbound. So you can roll over to their website and get some wax, some sealant, all the good stuff. They have pumps. Oh, yeah, wicked awesome pumps. Use code BONKBROS Unbound 2025, capital B, capital U. If you're confused, look in the description for that code. Also, big partner of the podcast, biketiresdirect.com. Not only do they have a huge assortment of tires to choose from, but they also have pretty much anything you need for your bike and all of the accessories that come along with it. So support us by using that code BONKBROS for 10% at the checkout there. That's enough of my banter. I'm faster than DJ. Let's get this party started.
Or are you going to finish your thought, Drew, or no?
Nah, it's all right.
Shouldn't you know this, Drew? Because you edit stuff?
I don't edit podcasts. I don't know if I've ever.
Do you edit your own YouTube videos?
Yeah, I do, actually.
That explains a lot.
I don't have so funny. I don't have deep pockets like Dylan and
oh, come on, dude.
Pay for an editor. Not rolling in it yet.
Dude, an editor only costs like $1,000 an hour. What are you talking about?
Yeah, worth it.
Yeah, especially when your YouTube video is going to make $200, you know?
Yeah,
worth it.
That's
bro.
about average. Like, yeah, that's about right.
Wait for that. Dude, just wait for that
though.
Unbound YouTube video.
Dude, I know.
It's going to pop
All
off.
I uploaded was the 2 hours of raw footage I got, and it's already at like, I don't know, 15K or something. I'm like
2 hours of raw footage.
17,000, and all I did was upload. I didn't edit it. No editing. Just uploaded it.
It's not even trainer season. Who's watching that?
I don't care. I love it though. It's like the easiest videos to produce.
Yeah.
And it's crushing it. But I'll do another video this week I'll break it down too.
Yeah, you gotta milk it, you know?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
How I trained for Unbound bike, Unbound nutrition, Unbound raw footage, Unbound race report. Yeah.
Unbound 2026. Yeah. I mean, I'm already prepping for 2026 now.
Oh, dude.
You want to do it again?
Yeah. I think after this year, yeah, for sure I want to do it again.
I feel like most people say that they don't want to do it again.
This is sad to say, and I know Scott's already going to give me crap for saying it, but I think that might have been the best performance I've ever had on the bike. And all I got was 35th place.
Well, 35th place at the biggest gravel race in the world.
Yeah. But I think it was mainly because of like how I raced. I was like, dang. Like at the last aid, I didn't know what place we were in, but like I was like top 20. I'm like,
dude, I saw pictures.
Crap.
I saw pictures of you and Keegan Swenson in the same shot.
I know. I commented on that picture that Keegan posted and said, dang, that's the closest I've ever been to you in a race. And somebody captured it. A couple, like 5 people sent me his post where I'm in the background. I'm like, dang, baller.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
And right before that, like it was probably less than 5 miles before that was when Brendan Johnston and Toby and Alexi and Julian also went. The 4 of those guys kind of started a chase group. And I was on Brendan Johnston's wheel and he attacked once and I went with him and it was me and him. But the peloton like followed us and then he immediately attacked a second time and they let him roll. And I'm like, oh, I was like on his wheel and he rolled. And then
so it sounds like you're the one that let him roll.
Yeah, pretty much.
Don't talk about they let him roll. You let him roll,
dude.
Bro.
And then we just pedaled soft for.
Wow, dude, Tyler's shaving his head.
Dude, we can only have one bald guy with a mustache on this podcast.
Are you trying to get a mustache?
Are you trying to go bald?
I'm not. I got a little bit of hair left.
I mean, me too.
I took a buzzer to it. I didn't take a razor to it.
Dude, I was just using
now that you have your
skin and shave Black Label razor to put the finishing touches on this new look. I figured if I look like Dizzle, I'm probably going to be top 35 in Unbound someday. So
I've never seen you not shaved before. This is crazy.
Is that how it works?
I feel like the mustache really suits you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else thinks that, but I appreciate it.
So here's a question. Have they reduced the weight of these Bolt razors yet or no? Are they still heavy as a...
Dude, the thing I like about this is it's a thick boy like me. But it really like the weight of it just helps hold the contours. If you have, I don't know, you don't have like big leg muscles, Dylan, but when you have like a bulging VMO, it's like there's a stark transition. So it really just kind of helps hold the contours of my legs and my cranium, which is nice.
Yeah.
How's it doing the head?
Dude, super smooth. That shave butter's nice.
Is the black one the exact same thing as the blue one, just black, or is it better for some reason?
Apparently there's 4 degrees, I think, more flexion. So the head flexes on the like that. What he's doing right now, the head flexes on the stick,
and that's
4
a good
degrees
thing.
more.
That is.
Yeah.
I was thinking this. Why don't they come out with why don't they also come out with a face shaver? Like, it would be nice if I could just carry the 1 5-pound.
You can
body.
use it to shave your face, bro.
Just carry a different.
you can.
Look at how wide the gel stuff around it. You can't get up into these crevices with that big fat gel thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I think they need to come out with another head that you can just pop onto the same body, and then you can use it to shave your face, and then you only have to travel with the one body.
Yeah. I think you know what I think we should do is we should point out the stuff that our other sponsors could do better as well.
Yeah.
Like SILCA is totally screwing up their wax, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's just a good just a comment on how we could improve an already good product.
It would be so cool if they could make their wax also smell good, because then it would be dual purpose. It would be waxing your chain, but also aromatizing your house. Because people have like candle warmers. It would be basically a candle warmer.
Dude, have you ever...
That's not a bad idea. I hate to say it, but I hate to say it.
Have you ever seen the Boyd sealant, tire sealant? It smells like bubble gum. And it's
You're not supposed to be promoting other brands, Dylan.
I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying. I mean, that doesn't make it seal. This doesn't make it seal better. It just smells better.
Well, you're supposed to say it seals horribly, but it smells good.
I don't know how it seals because I don't use it. But it definitely doesn't seal better than SILCA is what I am saying.
Are they going to pay you $500 if you flat in a race?
Well, if I race at all now.
Has that actually happened to anybody? Have they gotten paid?
I don't think anybody's flatted in a race, so the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I just find that Unbound, aren't there a lot of flats?
So arguably Keegan Swenson wasn't that confident in his sealant because did you see what he was running this weekend?
Dual valve stems?
Yeah, because he had a tube in there or something.
What?
How does that? So I saw that. Someone pointed that out to me. Mm-hmm. What was happening?
Man, I should probably pull up the article so I don't screw this up. I think he had a tube.
No research.
I think he had a tube in his tire.
Was it like deflated?
Yeah, so if he flatted the tube,
you just fucking inflate the tube and then you're good to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or he could have had I think Schwalbe was messing around with this. I think there actually is a correct answer to this that I wish that I knew, but where instead of a tire insert, you've got like an inflated insert.
So a tube.
Yeah, sort of. But a tube will expand for a tube will expand for the entire tire, right? Mm-hmm. This only expands for a small part of the tire, like an insert.
Doesn't seem worth it.
So it just gives you like a minimum pressure that you can run.
I think that it was a deflated tube. I could be wrong.
Did Keegan flat at all?
He did crash.
He did crash. I know.
Yeah.
This guy. What's wrong with this guy? Crashing? What's he do? He crashed last year at this race too.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know anybody else that crashed except for him.
I saw a bunch of videos of crashes in like way back in the back of the field. Terrible.
In the
pile-ups.
For once, I wasn't back there, so I didn't see a single crash.
Yeah, sorry. It might have interrupted the story. Go ahead.
People don't know how to use their brakes. Like the crash is like 10 seconds long. Like, don't you think if somebody crashes and you can stop in 10 seconds?
Dude, that happens in a crit.
Speed.
That happens in a crit.
But it's also bad in a crit. I'm not saying that. I just don't know why people don't like hit their brakes when you like. People just panic and like don't touch their brakes.
Yeah, dude, they're not Formula One drivers. Like their reaction time is probably like super delayed. But I feel like you've seen it in a crit where like the crash will happen 10, 15 wheels deep. And then some dude from the back just like somehow doesn't see that everybody's got a foot down and runs into the back of the group.
Yeah. He's probably got his head down, pedaling as hard as he can, and then just plows into the back of it.
He probably does gravel now. Is that what you're saying?
That would suck from being almost dropped to crashed. You're like hanging on for dear life. You're like, I made it back. And then wham, you crash.
I mean, that's how it happens, you know. Were you surprised to see Cam Jones win?
Yeah, a little bit. That guy's got some mad talent, though. How old is he?
Does he have mad talent? Because up until this point,
yeah, I watched a YouTube video about him, and when he was like 12 years old, he won some like 2-day triathlon.
Dude, when you were 12 years old, you were winning cross races.
When I was 12 years old, I had never even ridden a bike. I was playing like basketball or something stupid. I think I was mountain biking then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's the same thing.
Hey, so, okay, Drew.
That's basketball?
Cam Jones is certainly talented, but he's not the most talented person. No offense to Cam Jones. In fact, this is actually a compliment to Cam Jones. I don't think Cam Jones is the most talented person in the race.
I don't think so either.
By far. Yeah. So your argument about, man, he's got some talent. It's like, I mean, there are other people in the race that have arguably more talent than him.
Didn't someone write in to us about Cam Jones saying like to watch out for him when we were doing our terrible predictions for another gravel race?
I mean, they knew something we didn't, I guess.
Pay attention.
Dylan, did you watch the race?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why don't you give a little rundown of what happened? Because, like, 5 minute.
What you didn't watch it, so you need me to regurgitate?
No, I didn't watch
Yes.
it. I've seen like maybe 15 seconds of Instagram reels of people crashing, and that's it.
Okay. Well, both the men's and the women's race, there was a really small break of riders. In the women's race, it was 3. In the men's race, it was 2. And they went really far out from the finish, and that ended up being the winning move. Like, I think Cam Jones and Simone or Simon or whatever, the tutor guy, they went. Dizzle, what do you say? Like with 160 miles to go, like 40 miles in?
What, when those two guys went?
Yeah.
It was just before the first aid, so I think it was like 60 miles or something.
Okay, yeah. But that's a long ass way to go. It's like 140 miles.
Did they like attack or just like roll off the front? Was it like a full blown attack?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't there, but
yeah. Weren't you watching it? Is it supposed to be live streamed?
I didn't see that part. I didn't know those two guys were off, but I saw like Toby and Brendan and all those guys. And I don't think that group ever caught up to Simon and Cam, right? They were just a second group up the road. Is that right, Dylan?
No, they never caught him. So you know what I don't know if this controversy has actually hit the internet yet, but I've heard rumblings about this controversy just from people I know.
Dopers.
No. Not dopers.
Skinny tires.
Well, that's always a controversy.
Somebody must have got relegated because I was 35th, but now it says I'm 34th. So somebody got popped.
Let's get to the controversy.
Sorry.
Scott's waiting for it.
Okay. The controversy is that, so obviously they're live streaming the race and they've got, I don't know, one of those, what do you call those vehicles that they're filming with?
Those like ATV
side-by-side. Side-by-side. Yeah. It's not important. Anyway, they've got one of those filming the race, like a side-by-side filming the race. And the controversy is that for both the men's and the women's, the breakaway benefited from drafting off of the side-by-side. Like the side-by-side wasn't far enough ahead for them to not have a draft.
I drafted that thing multiple times.
Okay, well, don't admit to that in public, bro.
Well, it's not my fault. They were in front of me. If I'm on the front going hard and they're right in front of me, that's on them.
It's not the rider's fault at all. What do you expect them to just avoid it, slow down?
No, fuck it. Pump my brakes? No.
I draft every race. I draft every motorcycle as much as I can. Because it's not, you can't penalize the rider for it. You got to penalize the driver, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 100%. So, but the controversy right now is that the breakaway in both the women's race and the men's race, because there were points in both the men's and the women's race where the breakaway had over 10 minutes on the rest of the field, which is crazy. Because we're talking about breaks of like 3 riders, 2 riders, like two or 3 riders versus a peloton. They shouldn't be getting 10 minutes at a race like Unbound.
Yeah, but how slow is the peloton going? Is somebody like actually pulling?
I don't know. Dizzle can attest. What do you think? Going slow?
After like Ian and Brendan and those guys rolled, we set up real hard. Like it went from it, like they had a 6-minute gap. It felt like within 10 minutes. Like, I don't know if that's possible, but I mean, it was like immediately we're here in 6 minutes. And I'm like, crap, I should have went with him. I was like so mad, but oh well.
So anyway, it's hard to say how much of a benefit that was, but it probably wasn't nothing. You know what I mean? And this is also not taking anything away from, the riders that were in the breakaway and were doing all that work all day, because I mean, shit, going 150 miles with like one other rider helping you is crazy.
One other rider and side-by-side.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's parts of the footage where I'm like, yeah, that side-by-side is definitely within, it's within a close enough distance that they're probably getting some drafting benefit from that.
Yeah. There was another time when I think it was
dirt bike. It wasn't a side by side because we were on like a 2-track, and so it was in the left side and I was on the right side, and so you didn't really have room to, like, it was kind of blocking the lane, so I couldn't peel off. But I sat right next to it for like as long as I could because I'm like, I'm gonna milk this if I get on TV for the longer. And then when I did finally peel off, somebody, I forget who it was, it might have been Alex Wild, was like, hey man, we're trying to go faster, not slower. Because I sat on the front.
I think, what's difficult is that in races like Unbound, it's really hard for these filming vehicles to film from the side because the road is so narrow. So if you're filming from the front, they're probably going to get a draft for obvious reasons because they're blocking the wind. But even if they film behind, you get an aero benefit from having a vehicle behind you. This is actually what
it's marginal though. Come on, you got to film it.
Yeah.
What if you
think a helicopter is going to do a better job? Talk about wind.
I don't get the aero benefit of them being behind you. Like, do they have to be right on your tail?
I mean, it's definitely better the closer they are to you. Yeah. This is Ineos actually, I think, got in trouble for having like a full set of bikes on their car during a TT. Like they were following their TT rider really close and they had every imaginable bike on the top of their car to make the drafting benefit that much greater. I don't know if you guys remember when that happened or not, but
I remember the study that talked about that, or article where they were talking about a study about the benefits of drafting they talked about it from the moto, but they also said at a certain point, having a vehicle or a rider behind you is also helpful for that. And I don't know if it just prolongs the like tail of, or like how the air kind of moves around you guys as a unit, or what.
Let's talk about more things that we know little about.
That's this whole podcast.
We should probably
that's
just
like
end it.
A lot of podcasts too.
So
yeah,
if you're actually an expert in something, you're not just like talking about it on the internet.
Yeah.
So Dizzle, what happened to the early TV break? And if you guys talked about this, you can tell me just to listen back to it.
Like what do you mean? Which
you said you and Chase were going to be you said you and Chase were going to be in the early TV break last episode.
Like me and Chase attacked probably like a total of, I don't know, almost 10 times in the first little bit. And then instead of a break, it was more like a field split. It was like 25 dudes. And then somebody was yelling at me because I was kind of pulling through soft. And no. Chase had attacked. He was trying to make the breakaway off the breakaway, So I was sitting on the front, kind of slowing things down, like teammate tactics. And somebody came up and was yelling at me like, "What are you doing? This is the breakaway." And I said, "Bro, this is a field split. This is not a breakaway."
Was it Kyle Trudeau?
Screw you. Nah, some like probably German or something, some European. So many foreigners at this race. It's crazy.
Did any of them get hot and flat and quit?
As many as I wish would have.
Honestly, so somebody sent me this, like, they're like, "Dylan, you're wrong about the Euros." And I was like, honestly, I got to give it to the Euros. They're figuring out how to do Unbound. Like, I think
Keegan
Euros
was the only one in the top 10 that was American, I think.
Is that true?
I think so. Oh, Ian was 10th or 9th.
Oswald having a good ride.
I think I know. Yeah, that was insane. Ian. He said that he's retired. He said he's not doing Unbound. I'm like, no, you're going to do it next year, dude. There's no way.
I thought he was.
I think just him and just those two were in the top 10. I think I was like the 8th American. I mean, like,
it's wild.
I think that's how many Europeans were, or not all European, but non-Americans were in the race.
Yeah. It's an international race at this point.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Brennan Johnston is Australian. Never mind. Keegan and Ian, 7th and 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah. A ton of people not from. Yeah. Russell Finsterwald was the 3rd and 17th. Pete Stetina in 20th. So
yeah, I was with Russell and Stetina at the last 8. Like, that's insane.
What happened?
I think, like, is this scientific to where, like,
no, it's not.
I think, like, I just hit my max KJs that I've ever, and then it was just like, and it was absurd how quickly my lights went out. It was like,
did you
boom.
bonk?
No, it wasn't like a bonk. Bro? It was just like I couldn't pedal. Like it was bad.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't a bonk. I was just lightheaded and I couldn't pedal, and
Not
I was
lightheaded. I just was tired. I mean, like I think my normalized for the first like 100 was like, yeah, it was over. I think for the first 150, it was almost 300.
Did you cramp at all?
No cramping.
Okay.
I just literally like once I got popped, it was like I could barely keep pedaling.
Do you ever cramp, or are you not a cramper?
Nah, I think like once.
Yeah.
If you're talking about like a Charlie horse kind of cramp where like your legs lock up, like, nah, that doesn't.
Okay.
That's not a thing.
Yeah. I don't cramp very, very often, but
yeah,
sometimes in an early season race, I'll cramp.
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, what's a funny convo to me is when somebody's excuse for not doing well in a race is that they cramped. They're like, oh man, I was doing so good. Like I probably would have been top 10 and then I got cramps. And it's like, well, that is your body. Like, you know, I mean, it's kind of the same thing as being like, oh, I would have gotten top 10, but then I was too tired.
I'm not. I don't think I'm saying that. I'm just saying like I'm blown away.
I know.
I'm saying I'm blown away that at mile 150 I was still in the hunt for top 20. Like I saw Alexi and I had tried to send a little bit of a flyer before Little Egypt because I was like, if I can get a buffer, then they'll catch me on the climbs and I'll still be with the leaders, because I was fully expecting to get dropped on those climbs. And Alexi's like, dude, what are you doing? We still got 100 miles. And I'm like, yeah, but you guys are about to drop me as soon as we hit these climbs. He said, you should believe in yourself a little more. He told me this in the middle of the race. And then I saw him after Little Egypt. And I'm like, dude, you were right. I made it. I made it over the climbs.
Because, dude, nobody believes in themselves more than Alexi does. Alexi believes in himself so much.
Say that to me, I was like, yeah, you're right. I should take a page out of your book. And
Alexi thinks he can win every race he enters. And you know what? That means he can.
I entered this race thinking I'm going to start aggressive and maybe I end up dropped before even the 100-mile mark. So the fact that I made it all the way to 150 before the wheels came off, I was just blown away. I was like, I was pretty stoked about it. But then I gave up 15 spots in the last 50 miles. So that sucks. But Adam Roberge said he saw me up the road because I had already dropped him. But then he saw me just like, you know, pedaling along by myself. And he's like, oh boy. he said, there he is.
Did he say, oh boy, because he knew how far back he was, or because he was like,
oh boy, because he knew that I was probably like, just blew myself to shreds.
Yeah, but you put a lot of training going into this race,
like,
though. Like, I don't think you should.
Was it Adam or somebody? Yourself. Sorry, what'd you say, Tyler?
I said you put a lot of training going into this race. You shouldn't discount your preparation for it.
Yeah, you're right. I think, you're right. That just like for context, that post that Adam sent about Cam Jones's power and all that, like his power was nearly 50 watts higher than me and his TSS was like 150 watts less than mine. And I'm like, that math.
Well, he's also a lot heavier than you.
Add up.
Does he also, is that?
Yeah. So right.
Cam Jones is a lot heavier than you.
Yeah, he's a pretty big dude. But still, like TSS is relative to your FTP, and I put out like nearly 25% more TSS than him.
Yeah.
So what's his FTP?
Probably 500, dude.
Yeah, it's got to be like a lot.
Yeah, Cam Jones is well aware that he doesn't have a cyclist body. I sent him a message after the race, and he was like, "Yeah, not bad for a football player."
Built.
I like that.
What did you guys think of? Did you guys see the L'Esperance's Lespi's bike after the race or during the race?
Was there something special about his bike?
He had zip tied a little like chain lube system.
I even saw this.
Seat tube.
I saw this.
Really?
So he basically had like a little, I don't know if it was a bottle or some type of little bladder and then a hose going down just over the top of his chain.
It was like looked like a little mini sealant injector. So you just reach behind and push the thumb thing. Yeah.
So you know who has already been using that for well over 10 years at this point is Costa Ricans.
Just all of them? Like anybody from the country? Or
I went in 2016, so this is nearly 10 years ago. I went to Costa Rica to do La Ruta, and they all had this chain lubing thing on their bike already.
And back then, Dillman thought that this race was bigger than what he thinks Unbound is now.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I barely.
It was just as important. The NUE series was the biggest, best thing in the world.
No, La Ruta is not even part of the NUE series. It was just like
but that's what you thought then.
No, I didn't, dude.
Yes, you did.
You're making stuff up.
Nope.
I just thought it was interesting, the hacks that were that people, the lengths that people go to develop or modify their bike for just one race. Mm-hmm. Which brings up a question that Calvin had, which is when are gravel bikes going to fat bike territory and it's too much tire clearance? Is there a breaking point?
Okay, this was actually fascinating to me. The Escape Collective had, I forget who they had on, but they were talking about the testing that they did on Hannah Shell's bike. And they found that mountain bike tires on a rigid bike were the fastest option. But then when they put a suspension fork on her bike, and they're doing all this testing with an aero sensor, so they're taking into account changes in wind, and they're taking into account the aerodynamics of the bike. When they put a suspension fork on her bike, the new fastest tire with the suspension fork became a 40 mil tire because the suspension fork was now acting as the suspension as opposed to the tire.
And the theory being that, like, because the suspension is, I'll say, more supple than the sidewalls of the tire, you have better rolling resistance.
Well, I guess that's one theory. They weren't necessarily suggesting that, but their data showed that suspension fork with a 40 was faster than rigid mountain bike tire. And by the way, rigid mountain bike tire was faster than rigid 40. Like, you need the suspension fork to make the 40 faster.
But you need suspension. So the takeaway is you need some type of suspension, whether that's coming from the tire or whether that's coming from a fork or a shock or something like that. Little polymer insert or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. So
I kind of felt that about when I first got the Lauf bike, I was like, man, with the suspension fork on the Lauf, I was like, I just felt like you could get away with a smaller tire and not run the risk of flatting at least. Maybe not. Maybe I hadn't thought about, I'm not saying like, oh, I knew this already, but I at least had thought, oh, I could probably get away with a narrower tire and not run the risk of flatting because the fork would absorb bumps.
It seemed like all the talk going into the race was about there potentially being mud and just like additional, need for clearance there, but it doesn't seem like that really played out.
It dried up quick.
Did it really?
Real fast. Yeah. I mean, it had dumped rain on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, like all night. And then by Thursday afternoon, like most of the roads were already like bone dry.
So Dizzle, I mean, from what you could tell, what kind of tires were people on?
Black ones.
Dang, yeah, I was not paying that much attention.
There were probably some tan sidewall ones out there.
Yeah, I think I was surprised that more people weren't running mountain bike tires, but there were more suspension forks. Like I think Finsterwald was on a suspension fork. Keegan had a suspension fork on his bike until like the day before, and then he swapped back to a rigid fork, didn't he? Which I thought was interesting. But all those guys weren't on mountain bike tires. Those guys like Keegan and Tobin were on the Ramblers, weren't they?
Yeah, but they were on 50 mil Ramblers. So
yeah. Yeah. 45s and 50s are probably still the most common tire that you see out there. The tide had not fully shifted to the 2.2s yet.
Yeah. It was crazy because at Big Sugar last year, it seemed like everyone that could fit mountain bike tires had them.
Yeah, but that's a race that seems like you need that burlier tire just because of the unkeptness of the gravel.
Yeah. I mean, just for the flat risk, I will never do Big Sugar on anything less than a mountain bike tire. Even if, let's say, at the end of all this tire debate, we find that 45s are faster than mountain bike tires, and I've been wrong this whole time, I will still do Big Sugar on mountain bike tires just because the flat risk is that high.
It's because you've made your whole brand about that.
No, honestly, like I mean this wholeheartedly. I care more about going faster than I do about being right. And for example, if having a suspension fork with a 40 is faster than having mountain bike tires with a rigid, I'll do suspension fork with a 40. I don't care. I just want the fastest bike.
Yeah. Because I haven't read the article or listened to that podcast episode, did they do a combination of suspension fork plus bigger tires?
They did. So suspension fork with mountain bike tire was not faster than suspension fork with 40. And I think that it's just because at that point it's overkill. You know, you've got 2.2 inches of suspension from the tire, and then you've got 2 inches of suspension from the fork. And it's like, you don't need 4 inches of suspension for gravel.
Too much. Interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Jeez. Well,
I think Matt Beers probably needs to hear this the most. I think he was on a rigid fork and like 40s or 45s, and he had the most flats out of everybody from what I heard.
I mean, he's just a big guy. Big guys have more flats, you know?
Yeah, true. Which is also why, I mean, like, he should have suspension because he's a big guy. He had just like caught back up, I guess, from all of his flat tires right as the field was like splitting. I don't know, around the 100-mile mark or something like that. And I was like, oh crap, there goes the lead group. And like, I was dying, and I looked back and I saw Beers, and I was like, all right, he's going to bridge us back up there. And he didn't. I was so bummed.
Wait, why didn't he? He was tired?
I guess he was tired. Apparently he had flatted like a lot and had chased all the way back up to that point, like maybe even multiple times.
Did you beat him or did he beat you?
No. He was like 15th, but I did drop him on this technical section, and I looked back and was like, hey. I looked back and was like, oh snap. Like, I dropped him and Stetna and Finsty and everybody. And I'm looking back and I'm like, I got like a 10 or 15 second gap just through like this bumpy section. I was like, dang, I'm a baller. And then I was like, but I'm not going to be the doofus that tries to solo from Matt Beers. So I literally just stopped pedaling and waited for them to catch back.
What? Stop
Because I knew that every second that I was out there by myself was stupid. So I just was like, I'm not going to be the guy that tries to attack those guys and then drops himself 5 minutes later.
You know what?
The smartest thing you've ever done.
Which is still what happened. I mean, like, I still ended up getting completely dropped by those guys later on. So I was trying to like not let that happen, and it happened regardless.
Alexi would have sent it, dude. He wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Y'all watch the end of the Giro?
Yeah, dude, but that's premium content.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Tyler are doing a recap.
Well, let's do the recap right now. Screw your recap.
No, we're doing an exclusive recap.
I want to hear about pro road nats from a guy that was maybe there for at least 2 of the laps.
I was there for part of it, yeah.
Did you miss that episode that we talked about it?
Yeah, he was moving cars. Couldn't be bothered to join us.
Where was I? Oh, I was driving home. Well, they had the race on a Monday. So I was driving home Tuesday.
Aren't you a professional cyclist? You got to get to work, dude.
Yeah, who cares what day it's on?
Because I'm telling you, that's why I didn't do the podcast, because I was driving on Tuesday instead of Monday. Usually you travel on Mondays because races
the Mid-Atlantic isn't that big. It probably took you like 2 hours to get home. It's fine.
It took like 6 hours.
All right, well, you want to start with the crit and then tell us about the road race?
Sure. Did you watch the crit?
No. but I
watched
saw
the recap.
I saw that you got I saw that you got second. So I don't know if you're happy about that, or I don't know if you're happy about that or you're pissed about that.
I mean, I wanted to win, but like I don't think there's anything I could have done to win.
Really?
You did not try sprinting harder?
I tried sprinting as hard as I could. Yeah. Yeah, Lucas was just faster than me, I think. So there's not much more could have done.
So how did
a better lead out squad?
Well, like, okay, if you do a good lead out and he's behind,
riders.
like he kind of dusted me in the sprint.
Well, how did the sprint play out? Because all I saw was like the clip on Instagram of the downhill leading into the finish, and he was just in front of you.
First of all, the entire course is pan flat. There's no hills.
Okay. It looked like a little downhill. Sorry.
Was it the same course as last year or different?
Yeah, it's the same course, but it wasn't pouring rain. So we started the race. We were going to act like we were controlling, like we did last year, where you just ride the front the entire race until the sprint, and just ride for 30 minutes to make it seem like we were just going to try to control it, and then we were going to start attacking after that for the next period of the race, and then eventually start controlling again.
Deception there
for the sprint, yeah. So we kind of did that, and then raced it pretty hard, like just attacking, but it was too fast. Like I think we averaged close to 30 miles an hour, so too fast for anything to get up the road. And then the sprint, like they did a good lead out, and then there was kind of like a lull with like 3 corners to go. And then I slotted it, like I was behind one of my teammates, and then Lucas kind of came underneath me in the last turn. So then it was Brendan Rim, Lucas, and then me. And then I was yelling at Rim to like stop the lead out so that Lucas would have to sprint early, but he couldn't hear me because it's too loud. And then Lucas just dusted me.
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
Dang,
no, it wasn't close.
It
was close for second though, because I kind of like gave up, and then like I almost got pipped. I was almost fourth.
And who came in behind you? I forgot.
Colby Simmons, and then Robin Carpenter was fourth.
What's happened? Like, are you guys the top dogs in the domestic crit scene now, or is Legion and the like still around?
Where was Legion?
Legion was there. Robin rides for Legion.
Oh
yeah, but they had like 4 teams like a year ago. But I don't know. Coverage of crits has been lacking.
Corey there? Corey
Williams? No, he's Belizean.
I would argue that
didn't he crash you out of the U.S. Pro Nats like 2 years ago?
That's up for debate, but
he was in that race.
Let's relitigate it.
Yeah,
right
he
here.
switched nationalities.
I don't know.
He switched nationalities.
Okay.
I would argue that Project Echelon's the new Legion.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Legion used to dominate like a couple years ago, and now it's Project Echelon.
We're not dominating at the moment. Second of all, we don't really do crits.
Mm-hmm.
We just do nationals, and we did Armed Forces this weekend, which is like probably the most competitive crits, other than Tulsa maybe, in the country.
Did you guys dominate?
No.
Tell us about Armed Forces then.
Well, okay. So the first day was right in front of the Capitol, which is kind of cool. Cool. Yeah, like it was like right in, middle of DC. And it was kind of like a hot dog crit course, which was kind of like just back and forth. It had like little loops on the end and then back down one same road and then a little loop on the end. So like, and it started like raining right before the race. And then, I don't know. I think we just tried to race too aggressively when it was inevitably just going to be a sprint because it's just, more fun to race that way, I guess. So it was a bad sprint. No results to speak of. Bad. Okay. And then the second day, we again tried to race aggressively. This is one that's 100K. That's 5 corners per lap. So you do 500 corners. So it ends up being like a really hard race because you're doing like 500 sprints basically throughout the race. And we had 2 guys in like a group of 8, which was perfect. And then it looked like it was going to go to the line. But then like in the last 10 laps, I think we caught them. Somebody chased it back. It was too big of a group. So that was kind of our race like over, I guess. Because we were banking on a breakaway. And I tried to sprint, but I just didn't get the position.
And then
so yeah, it didn't go super well. But
and then what about the road race at Pro Nats? What happened there?
Okay, I guess I can. So
he's like,
I forgot about
he's
that.
like, he just doesn't want to talk. He's like,
I'm on to the next.
You have to make me talk about that. You know?
Didn't you guys already talk about it?
We did, but we didn't get your take on
inside perspective.
Quinn Simmons is strong as fuck. That's pretty much it. Like the course is, I mean, Dizzle, you did it. It's pretty hard. Like that climb up the Bridge Street is really hard. So this year we skipped that climb the first 2 laps, I guess in an effort to make it slightly easier. But then, so an early break we had 1 guy in it. I think it was 9 guys originally, which like wasn't enough for us. So that was kind of like a little bit of a bummer, but we still had a guy in the break. It was Sam Boardman. And then the first time up the hard climb, it like we just went full gas. And Quinn got away with AJ August, who rides for Ineos. And then they bridged up to the group, and then eventually it just like they slowly dropped the riders from the breakaway, and Quinn just went solo from there.
What place?
So it happened kind of early. Huh?
Was AJ second?
No. I think he got like dropped. He was like not even in the top 10.
Dude, are we really not going to talk about the Giro because you guys have to talk about it on Patreon? That's
you can talk whatever you want.
It's upsetting, man. The last stage was just so good.
Tell us about the highlights you watched.
Or not the last stage. I guess the second to last stage, the one where Yates took it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was honestly like I did not see that coming. I think a lot of people was just focused on Carapaz v Del Toro, and then Yates just came out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere, but like
he didn't look good in all the stages leading up to that. It was like Del Toro win 2 of the stages leading up to that? Put like another 15 seconds, 30 seconds into Yates. You're like, dude, he's got this thing wrapped up. Like Carapaz couldn't get an inch on Del Toro, and then out of nowhere, Yates comes from 3rd and just whacks both of them. Like that was epic. It wasn't
kind of pulls a Chris Froome from.
Do you think they were
2016 or 2017?
Wait, am I frozen?
17 or 18, I think, because they talked about it a lot about Yates, how Yates lost the Giro the last time with Froome attacking and putting 4 minutes into him. So, yeah.
Redemption.
Big turnaround.
I was, I mean, I'll be honest. I don't usually like root for cyclists. I just kind of like passively watch and see what happens. But I found myself low key rooting for Del Toro.
Yeah, me too. I thought you were about to say Yates, but I was totally rooting for Del Toro. I don't know. Something about him seemed like, for somebody so young, he was so poised. Like he looked like a seasoned pro out there.
I mean, he'll for sure win a Grand Tour in his career. Like he already came really close at 21 years old. So it's not his last opportunity by any means. Like he's got plenty of time, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
What a move when you didn't this happen the first year with Jonas? The first year Jonas won the yellow jersey at the Tour was like they go into the Tour working for one rider. So like that year was Rutledge, and then this year was Ayuso with UAE. And then like the main rider just sucks, and some young kid on the same team, it finds themselves winning the race. And it's like this weird dynamic of like, well, you weren't the guy we came here to work for, but you are winning, so we should probably switch our plan. And like,
Roglic can't stay on his bike in a Grand Tour, seemingly, unless it's the Vuelta. Then somehow he can just like, he's the king of the Vuelta. But then, I mean, with Ayuso, with UAE, they came in with like 3 potential leaders, and then they didn't. I don't even think until the maybe the last 3 stages, they finally picked one.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they all came in with Ayuso as like, okay, Ayuso will be the leader for this. So like,
he wasn't even close.
Yeah. And then Del Toro takes pink on the Sienna stage, and then they're like, but Ayuso is still the leader, so we got to keep him close in GC. And then he crashed and got a bee sting and had to drop out of the race.
Yeah, I heard about that. He had to drop out because a bee stung him in the eye?
Yeah, his whole face was swollen and his eye was all closed up.
I want to see a picture of this. Somebody send me a picture of this.
It's probably you just Google it. Yeah. It's probably out there somewhere.
Yeah, LMG.
Some rider, I was talking about this with somebody, but some riders crash all the time, like Roglic, and some riders never crash. I think, completely different discipline of cycling, but I think Greg Menard was talking about how he didn't miss for his entire career, he didn't miss one single downhill World Cup due to an injury. It's like, how are you never injured being a professional downhill racer? That's crazy. I don't know. I feel like people have different levels of risk tolerance in the moment, like while they're racing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a big part of like Greg Menard's longevity is just, I mean, is he still racing downhill, or did he finally retire?
I think he retired. I could be wrong.
He's probably still racing. He's probably,
how do you know? So in a 20 plus year professional downhill career, how do you never have an injury where you have to miss a race?
That's what I mean, he's like 40 something years old. Like that's crazy. I don't know. Impressive, actually.
But, and then, so, I mean, it's, we're talking about downhill mountain biking, and then I was comparing it to Roglic, who's a road racer, but it's kind of the same thing. It's like, I feel like some people, I mean, we can all think of people who crash all the time and hurt themselves frequently. And then we can think of people that barely ever crash and get hurt. And some people just have, I don't even necessarily think it's like a skill thing, because some people crash all the time and they go slow as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, they're not fast downhillers, but they do crash a lot. Like, I think it's just a difference in risk tolerance, like while you're riding.
Yeah.
Like, some people are more comfortable being out of control than other people. Some people still stay well within their purview of, this is my skill level and I'm staying within this bubble. And some people go outside of that bubble frequently and get themselves in trouble.
And some people try to stay in that bubble, but they can't stay on top of their bike and they still crash. Like, they just put themselves, I don't know if you'd call that, I don't know if you'd call skill like, positioning is probably a skill, I'd say.
Yeah.
For a lot of these Grand Tour riders. So yeah, I mean, I think you see a lot of these guys that like how is it that Roglic crashes in almost any Grand Tour that he does? And just like, I don't know if it's just poor positioning or poor bike handling or just really bad luck, but I don't know. The dude, he struggles with some aspect of it. Not saying, I mean, he's probably a better bike handler than I am, but it's, yeah. I think, like, to your point, there's all of these pieces of the puzzle that they have to put together to make a long career and to be successful. Some guys just don't have it.
Well, I guess what I'm arguing, and I could be wrong about this, like, I'm willing to be persuaded otherwise. I don't even necessarily think, like, sometimes people say people that crash a lot, they're not skilled riders, which I don't think is true, because they're, oftentimes they go really fast downhill. I think it's more about calculating risk tolerance in the moment. Like, they have their calculation for risk tolerance is they even if they're not consciously thinking this, because they're probably not consciously thinking, I am willing to put myself at risk here. I think it's a subconscious thing, and they are willing to put themselves at more risk and be further outside of their comfort zone than other riders are.
But maybe that's because they have the skills to pull themselves back from that edge. They can get out of any situation.
Well, some of them do and some don't. I mean, but argue that Roglic doesn't. I
mean, Yates almost dumped it on the final descent of the Giro before climbing. Did you guys catch that in the YouTube highlights? he was, so Wout was pulling out the gap, or maybe it was when Yates was trying to catch up to Wout. In any case, he was coming around this like right-hand bend, and like, dude, the bike just like slid underneath him. I mean, he saved it obviously, but still a moment where it'd be really easy to grab too much brake, and then all of a sudden you're sliding across the pavement, and that's Giro done for you. And then Carapaz and Del Toro would have ridden off into the sunset. But
did I see in one of the stages on the highlights, the entire EF team overshot a turn, and like all 5 of them were off the side of the road or something? Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
It was hilarious. Like all 5 of them.
They didn't crash though, right?
Yeah, they didn't crash, but they overshot this turn, and luckily there was like a little, maybe like a little pull off. It looked like a little like overlook thing, and they all ended up at the overlook and not on the road. It was so funny. Like, yep, that's accurate. That's pretty good.
Dizzle, what do you think of the EF POC helmets, the ones that cover the ears?
Yeah, Trey had one of those, I think, the over the ears ones at Unbound.
Yeah, but he had the cask one.
Oh, POC. That's the one that
like
that's
Lachlan.
the one that Lachlan had.
Yeah.
Well, everything that Lachlan touches is gold. So, yeah. I don't know. I think they look weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think I was saying this on the Patreon only episode actually, but when it comes to like stuff like helmets and glasses, I think anytime something new like a helmet that covers your ears first comes out, everybody's going to freak out about how weird it looks, and then after a while, if enough cool people win races on it, like Lachlan, it becomes normalized. Like in fact, I think the second that Lachlan won Unbound last year wearing that helmet, I was like, that helmet is cool. That is a cool helmet now.
Well, it wasn't the second he won. It was like, how far? It was like 15 minutes behind. It was 15 minutes after he won, because then you would have known that he won.
No, dude, I was only 4 minutes behind him. Not even. Actually, I think it was 3 minutes.
Well, I was 4 minutes ahead of you this year.
Yeah, but how many minutes were you behind Cameron Jones, though, dude?
Yeah, I was a lot of minutes behind Cam Jones.
It's probably good that you broke your leg, Dylan, because you can just ride this
people.
10th place for another year. What are the chances, realistically, to improve on that would be very difficult, right?
Scott's saying this after having the same exact thing happen to him.
It would be difficult. Yeah, I mean, it would.
Yeah, but it would have been better if I just didn't start.
Yeah, because then you could point back to the fourth place.
It would be difficult, but objectively, I was in better shape this year than I was last year.
Yeah, but the chances of something like going wrong are high, you know?
For sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, anything can go wrong at Unbound.
I think the chances of you like improving are lower than they are, you know.
Yeah, I don't think you would have been top 10, because like almost all of the top 10 were like people who got into breaks, and that's not usually your style. But I think you would have been right around Beers and Finsterwald, because I think you would have, been right around 15th.
What contributed? Wasn't the winning speed like?
The winning speed was 23 something miles an hour.
Is that just a aspect of the North course, or was it situation on the day that it was so fast?
Course too.
Oh, okay. So then what made it so fast?
I think the wind was also favorable for race day, right?
I think it was, yeah.
Like it was no wind on the way out and then tailwind on the way back or something.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
May or may not have had drafts from side by sides.
But I'm not considering any of that. I went faster than Dylan, so that's all that matters. I probably had 10 people text me and message me saying that.
For sure. Well, does that mean that you guys next year are going to do it on a tandem bike?
I don't know why we would do that, Tyler. But
I don't know. Do you think it would be
in the world? Why in the world would we do that?
Do you think it would be easier to do it on a tandem bike?
No.
With Dizzle, no. I think I'd
with Dizzle, no.
It would have to be a decoupling tandem bike so that you guys could take it apart. And
you know what we didn't talk about is how our predictions for the XL were completely and utterly wrong.
Yeah.
But Lachlan
did talk about it.
Lachlan did get a flat in the last 30 miles or something.
Was he winning up to that point?
Well, he was with Rob Britton. It was Rob Britton and him together, and then he got a flat, and then Rob Britton won. So, I mean, again, anything can happen at Unbound, right? So, yeah.
That's right. Could get hot, could get flat.
Exactly.
All right.
We have listener questions? It was 17 hours for like 300. They did 20 miles an hour.
How much did they beat the old record by?
I don't know. I mean, I think the old record was like 18 hours or something. So not crazy, but dude, 20 miles an hour average for 350 miles on gravel.
Yeah.
They have aero bars though. They can run aero bars.
Yep. And the wind was favorable and they had side by sides.
No, they didn't have side by sides.
How'd they get all that footage then?
Did they get footage of the XL?
I don't know.
You don't even know what you're talking about, bro.
They have to have some footage, right?
I don't think they had side by side footage.
How long were you commentating for?
Only like 10 minutes. They brought me on for 10 minutes and then they kicked me off.
What part of the course? Like at what miles?
I don't know, like 40 miles to go.
Okay.
Yeah. But I watched.
Give me any kind of a shout out?
No.
Dude, your homeboy, your best friend is in the race and you're commentating and you don't give your best friend a random shout out?
Well, the camera wasn't on you because you were too far back.
Just
dude.
Find a way. Find a way. Next time we got to make that happen.
Well, I was only on there for 10 minutes and they were like, Dylan, how's your injury? And I was like, I don't know. Same as yesterday. And then
how was your injury?
Up.
Same as yesterday. Like
I don't know what yesterday was.
Well, a broken leg doesn't heal that fast. So
have you ridden a bike yet?
No, I haven't. And I probably won't ride a bike for a while.
Tyler Stites got 4th at Road Nationals with a broken tibia.
Damn.
But yeah, Adam wanted us to shout out his
the guy who broke all those bones.
Friend, apparently he finished Unbound with 11 broken bones or something. Basically,
Dylan,
I guess the moral of the story is this guy's tougher than all of us. We're just
you only have one broken bone.
I actually have 2. So
okay,
my
fine.
tibia and my
well,
fibula.
That's a lot less than 11.
Yeah, but this guy had a bunch of broken ribs, and broken ribs are just like, nah.
Yeah, that should count as one.
Yeah, whatever.
One collective, yeah.
Nah, but he did break his neck. That does seem that seems pretty legit. Like he probably
did he break his back too?
Yeah, his neck, back, basically the same thing, right?
What's his name?
But whatever his name is, he's tougher than we are.
Good job doing the shout out, Drew. That was good there.
Great shout out.
Is this guy paying us to give him a shout out? No. If you want a shout out, you got to pay us, buddy.
All right, you want to do the bicycle accident law trivia? It's only one question.
Hit us with
now that we're talking about getting hit by cars and shit.
Are you still on crutches, Dylan?
Yeah, and I will be.
You gonna go to the lake this weekend?
I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Bro, you need social interaction. You got to come to the lake this weekend.
Yeah, I can't drive right now, but
Trey's going to pick you up on the way down.
Yeah, I get somebody to drive me.
It'll be built by Trey and driven by Trey.
Yeah, I'll go to the lake, man.
Yes.
Just to shut you up.
Exactly. Yeah. If you don't, I'm going to call you every day until you say yes.
Okay. All right, hit us with this trivia, Scott.
All right. You're riding and come to a two-way stop that is controlled by stop signs. Instead of stopping, you roll through the stop sign. Dylan. A car comes speeding around a blind.
Stop? Wait, what? A two-way stop? That's a what?
Two-way stop.
Oh, crossing over another road that doesn't have stop signs.
Yeah, I assume that's what's going on here. Yeah.
So it's like you're crossing and okay, got it.
A car comes speeding around a blind corner, hitting you. So I assume the car doesn't have the stop sign.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Who is at fault for this wreck? A, speeding car. B, cyclist rolling through stop sign. C, both car and cyclists. D, whatever the accident report says. Or E, depending on the state and what a jury decides.
The last one.
The last one.
You can't say the same thing as Dillman.
Oh, well, then I'll do the third one. What was the
Both
third
the
one?
car
Both
and
of
the
them.
cyclist?
Yeah, I'll say both.
What's the answer?
E. You're right, Dylan. Depends on the state and what a jury decides. And then he gives a little explanation.
Yeah,
First,
like
although accident reports are important to get after a wreck, they are often biased against cyclists and luckily not admissible in many states. Second, in some states, a cyclist is allowed to roll through a stop sign if they make sure the roadway is clear, which obviously if you got ran over, then it's not clear.
Yeah, but the other car was speeding.
The car's also speeding.
Yeah, it's
some states
speeding car
are based on pure comparative fault, and if a jury determines a cyclist is 75% at fault, he/she would still get be able to recover 25% of their damages. In other states, however, if the cyclist is more than 50% at fault, they would recover nothing. The moral of the story is call a lawyer. It's complicated.
Wow. All right. Sick. Well, do we have listener questions? Or is Tyler the
and
one?
Which lawyer? Hold on. And which lawyer should they call?
Scarborough Bicycle Accident Law.
There we go.
Good job, Dizzle. We almost royally fucked that up.
They sent us some. This is clever. He's got those like stickers where like normally you would put your name on the sticker, but his says Scarborough Law and it's got a QR code. And if you don't want to just have that, I was thinking this. I'm not gonna like plaster that on my bike because my bike looks cool and I don't want it to not look cool. But you could put that sticker like under your bottom bracket and you still have the QR code right there. And if you get in an accident, you can just snag that QR code. And,
I don't know about under the bottom bracket because it'll probably not be visible.
But put it somewhere where it's not visible.
Not going to get destroyed.
Did you?
Yeah, and then
those. Speaking of your bike supposedly looking cool, did you put those checkers on your fork? Like how'd you do that? Did you like buy checker stickers or something?
No, I got like a Cricut machine, so I just cut them out. You watched me put them on at Sea Otter.
Yeah.
In the garage.
Is that what you were doing?
Yeah. It was just stickers, like really, really thin sticker material, vinyl. Why?
I don't know.
Look cool?
It's debatable.
Yeah.
Cooler
than a full disc wheel?
No, dude, a full disc wheel looks cool.
Yeah, does it look cool when it's getting dropped on all the hills, though? Sorry, Chase.
Was Chase getting dropped on all the hills?
Low ball. Yeah, he even after the race was like, I think I overdid it with all the aero stuff.
Was his bike too heavy?
Yeah, I think it was too heavy.
How much did it weigh?
I don't know, but it was like way heavier than mine. For having like nearly the same setup.
How much? Like, I'm sure the full disc wheel is like probably 1,000 grams or something, right?
No idea, but it's heavy.
Yeah.
Plus, he had a lot of water
heavy
on his bike.
What kind of disc does he have?
It's a
homemade like head disc. Like they just make it for him. It's not like something you can buy. It's like a disc that they made on a gravel specific wheel, so it's not light.
I think the other thing too is that the aerodynamics of the front wheel matters a lot more than the aerodynamics of the rear wheel, especially on a gravel bike. So,
like
I'm not
really gaining much.
Well, I haven't put it in a wind tunnel, so I don't know. Like maybe the disc wheel gains a lot, but I don't know if it's just like a 2-watt gain or a 3-watt gain. I'd argue that's not worth it because that rear disc wheel is really heavy.
Yeah. Granted, Chase had a kid two months ago. He has an 8-week-old. Wout was at the race. He told me that on my YouTube video, I should put Wout at Unbound to get clicks, but maybe too far-fetched. But yeah, so like they still have a baby that's not even sleeping the night through. And so his sleep quality. I mean, I bet the number one thing that probably like has affected him is he didn't get to do probably as great of a build leading up to it. He still got in 2 35-hour week block, but before then I think it was hit or miss because of the baby. And he's not getting like tremendously good sleep the last 2 months.
That's all you need. 35-hour, 2 weeks. That's it.
Yeah. For you, maybe.
Just go from 0 to that. You're good.
Yeah. He was pretty bummed about it, I think, because of like how good last year went, him being in the break and everything. But yeah, it didn't play out that way this year.
Did he actually finish well last year, or he was just happy about being in the break for half the race?
I think he was right. I think he was happy with being in the break, and then I think he was in the 40s. I want to say he was like around 45th or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that like you guys were looking to get TV time, but in my mind, I was like, I'd rather place higher than get TV time.
Yeah, but like I thought the best that I could do was like maybe a top 30. So like who cares if you get top 30? I don't know.
And I also didn't think that the two things went against each other. Like I thought getting in the early break would be advantageous. And I think in my case it was. Because
you just didn't get with the right early break, man. You should have gotten with.
Yeah. Well, I was in the early break and then, but then a smaller one went off and everything. So.
Yeah. I don't think that an early break from mile 5 is the right move at Unbound. I think it needs to be more like 50 to 100 miles in.
Yeah. That's literally what happened this weekend. So good job. Yep. Foresight's 2020, buddy. Thanks for that.
You mean hindsight, but yeah.
Hindsight. Yep. My bad. Hindsight. Yeah.
Tyler, you're back.
I'm back.
You got listener questions for us?
I've been asking them throughout. You guys refuse to answer them. Matt wants to know, he's a 40-year-old dad, 185 pounds, probably a 290 watt FTP, does 6 to 10 hours per week, mainly mountain bike and gravel. His longest race was Croatan, 100 mile. And he's wondering if Dillon could beat him with one leg in the Unbound 200.
I feel like somebody else needs to answer this.
No. Next question.
I saw a video of Ryan Standish, I think, pedaling up a hill with one leg this week.
How would he do that?
Yeah, if you're cramping that bad, like, wouldn't you just quit?
Just stop.
Yeah, or stop. Like, he wasn't even he wasn't like he was having a good race. I don't even know if he got the top 100. Like, yeah, maybe just take a break.
Take some downtime from there.
Mid-race.
Let me see. What else you guys been talking about while I was away?
But I can't even remember.
Just transitive property.
Transitive property, yeah. Yeah, Dizzle would have gotten top 10 last year. I don't know if you guys realize that.
I would have been top 3, Dillon.
Yeah, actually.
Based off my time, I would have been second.
Wasn't it a different course?
No, same exact course.
Oh, same exact course. Okay.
They changed the course every like 2 years.
Do they go back to the previous from 2 years ago? Or is it totally new?
I mean, no, so they'll do a north route and a south route, and the north route will be completely different from the south route. But then they'll do 2 years north and 2 years south, and usually the courses are pretty much the same for 2 years, and then they switch it up. So
somebody else did some interesting math. They said that from my time last year to this year, increased by 8%. And if Dillon had increased his time by 8%, he would have won by like 5 minutes or something.
Okay. You know the conditions are totally different. I know. You cannot compare just saying, like, times.
The what do you call these? The stipulations and it's just funny. What do you call them? Dillon, when you take something small and you make it?
Well, I mean,
projections
as long as we're using transitive property, last year the last time I did Unbound, I beat Cam Jones. So
was he there last year?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I don't know what that said. I'm not suggesting anything, guys, but
yeah.
Keep riding that 10th place, Dillon. Keep riding that 10th place.
Does Dillon ever come back to do Unbound, or does he just ride this 10th place high for the
Is
rest
that
of
actually
his...
a question?
Well, I mean, this question for me that Scott's bringing up.
Right. Yeah.
It'd be smart. Just ride the 10th place. At some point, you will start declining.
Yeah.
Pull an Uncle Rico. Just talk about how you could have been somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I objectively, I was in better shape this year than last year. Anything could happen on the day. I realize that, but objectively.
Yeah, but also like everyone is in better shape than they were last year.
Everybody's getting, you're right, Scott. Everybody's getting in better shape. I'm just saying objectively better shape than last year. So, anything could happen on the day, but yeah. I'm not in better shape now. I haven't ridden my bike for 2 weeks, but
yeah, dude, welcome. Let's see. So this is a question that was asked that I don't think we even answered last week. I don't think we answered the dream build out of your 500 of the basement last week. I know Scott didn't.
We did too. Oh, we talked about it last week again. That was 2 weeks ago. The garage build out?
Yeah, or just like space build out. I would start with the golf simulator personally. Yeah, because you were on your phone.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about right now.
So there was a question that David had that we've now not answered for two weeks. I'm interested in it, but what would you, if you had a 500-foot space to build out, what would you put in there? Money is no object.
Build a sauna.
Really? You already built a sauna, dude.
I know. And that only takes up like 10 square feet.
Well, if money was if I could spend as much money as I want on it, it'd probably be an altitude, like a sealed enclosed altitude room that just has like a couch and, a computer and a
no windows
TV,
so that you could just sit in there and sit on the couch.
Yeah, no, there wouldn't be any lights. It'd be very dark. So
basically just your living room.
Yeah, my living room, but an altitude chamber living room. Yeah.
What else would you not have like a gravel treadmill? Like, you remember the picture of Team Sky back in the day, or like the XC Nordic skiers that have those big treadmills where they can like skate on and stuff?
That, but also it raises up and turns into a how they have like that, but for rock climbing.
A climbing wall. Yeah.
I've always thought that'd be sick to have.
They're called a tread wall.
And it just it goes slow, but you just climb and you keep climbing.
Yeah. It's called a tread wall.
I'd probably just have
tread wall to a gravel treadmill, convertible up, down.
I'd probably just have the pedaling efficiency rig that they have at Silverstone in my house.
What does that look like? Is it like a feedback sports trainer, or like what's that?
Nah.
What does that look like?
This would be sick. I've also, when I was growing up, I was like, it'd be sick to just convert a whole house into an indoor skate park and have half pipes all over the place. And
do you even skateboard
down the?
He would.
I would. Or rollerblade or BMX. You could do all the things and convert your stairs into like a big luge, and it'd be so cool.
So you want to raise indoor mountain bike park, but in your basement.
Yeah. Just raise indoor mountain bike park inside your house.
I think personally, I'd have like a golf simulator that could double as like a virtual Zwift studio. You've got the big projector screen, but just imagine being surrounded for all your winter indoor riding. I know we all don't live in Brevard where it never snows and it's 70 degrees all the time. But for those of us that do experience winter.
Tyler, why are you such a Brevard hater? That's what I want to
know. Because it's fun. It's just a mid city in the mid-Atlantic. All you mid-Atlantic people.
It's not the mid-Atlantic.
It's the Southeast, bro.
Oh my gosh. All you mid-Atlantic people are just like so high in your own supply. Just the East Coast in general.
The East Coast
think that you're awesome. Elite. It's not. It's not.
Green. It's full of
humid.
Life. Yeah, it
too
feels
many
like
people
life. You know what is needed
place.
for life is water, and it's got plenty of that.
I thought you were going to say crabs, and that's why Maryland is.
Well, they're in the water. They're in the water.
Yeah. What kind of crabs are we talking about here?
Not your kind.
Okay, did we answer that question or?
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good answer.
Someone called us out on, he said post Sea Otter podcast, Cam Jones doesn't look like a cyclist, looks like he should play football. And that he runs a Shimano and 4i. So I don't know. It's really a wonder that he could even finish the bike race with such these things holding him back.
He runs, wait, a Shimano power meter and a 4i power meter, or so Shimano 4i?
So instantly, you can't trust what his power numbers at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Just objectively false.
It's, I'm going to be honest. I was expecting his power numbers to be higher than they were. I think he did like 320 normalized.
Should have run a cork.
That cork would have said 360. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
If he had a cork on, people would be thinking he's doping. His power numbers would be so far through the roof.
All right. So I actually have a legit question from Brian here, right? Everybody talks about their build and their bikes for Unbound, but nobody talks about the recovery. So Dizzle might have to check back in here. What does recovery after Unbound or maybe an NUE mountain bike race look like? How many days off the bike? How much time till you get back to intensity? What does that proper recovery look like after such a taxing event?
We answered this on the Matchbox last week. Just tell them to tune in this week on the Matchbox.
Well, bring it here now.
Now I'm literally like exact same question. I don't know if it's the same guy asking 2 podcasts the same question, but
might have been.
Listen to the Matchbox that comes out tomorrow.
Guys, Drew's pissed about this. He will not answer the same question twice.
Man, it'd be like getting really annoyed that you're forced to answer a question on a podcast when you have another podcast to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of dependent on fitness level, right? Like some people, it takes them a month to feel normal again after Unbound. Some people are back to normal training like within the week.
Didn't like 2 years ago you put out like your best 20-minute the week after Unbound?
Yeah.
That's whack.
Unbound was on Saturday. On Wednesday following the race, I did my best 20-minute power ever up until that point.
How'd you go on your bike that week?
Because I had a race. I would have normally taken a mid-season break, but I had BWR North Carolina on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, true.
And that went really well, too. I got second at that race.
On Adam?
Yeah, sprint finish.
So dependent upon your fitness, listen to the Matchbox. Sorry, Brian. Can't help you here.
Look, just do a 20-minute test on Wednesday after Unbound, and then on Saturday after Unbound, do another 150-mile gravel race. You should be fine.
Yeah, I think everybody could recover.
Yeah,
just fine by that protocol.
Make sure you drink a lot of beer in between all of that.
I mean, are you even a gravel racer if you're not drinking beer immediately after the race? Yeah, well, I think that's all for questions right now. People are not interested in what we have to say, probably because we're wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
Should we talk about the women's race at Unbound? I don't think we have at all.
Ooh, probably not, but I didn't watch any Unbound content, so tell me about it. Sophia did not win.
You're so full of it. You watched the whole live stream, dude.
Dude, I saw 6 hours, came up on my YouTube feed. I saw 6 hours and I thought I have better things to do in those 6 hours than even play it in the background. Although I feel like I missed out because DJ was on there commentating.
Yeah, only for 10 minutes out of the 6 hours. I think you had 10 minutes to spare.
I'll go back and watch it now.
Girl who won soloed. And she was,
tell us about it.
Like a big gap, wasn't it?
Dude, it was like 10. We need to pull up the results, actually. I think it was like 10 minutes or something. I'm looking up the results.
So, well, I know that some of us predicted that Sophia would win. That obviously did not happen. So
it looked
good job, us.
So it looked to me like the chase group, and I could be wrong here because I wasn't in the race, but it looked like they kind of gave up. Like, I don't know. And it's not just me saying this. Like, when I was watching, the commentators were kind of saying the same thing. They were like, "Oh, they're kind of coasting. They're kind of looking at each other." And I mean, I think that's the thing about when you're in a group of 30, like you always feel like there's somebody else that can do the work. And if you keep saying that to yourself, then I don't know, eventually, if everybody says that, then nobody ends up doing anything. All right. I'm going to butcher the name here. Carolina Mion.
She won the Traca too.
Won the Traca.
Yeah, did you guys
Go ahead. Finishing time was 10 hours, 3 minutes, and second place, Cicely Decker, was 10 minutes, 10 hours, 12 minutes, 29 seconds. Yeah. Nearly a 10-minute. Yeah, that's crazy. And then
so
Sophia.
Do they start them at behind the pro men? Or how do they do it?
They start them behind. Yep. And
so
then
they had a clean race or what?
They did, yeah. And also, they're also not allowed to draft off of amateur men that catch them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
But are they allowed to draft off a UTV that's filming or?
Well, that's fine. Yeah. Again, I mean, like, you know.
What if they catch the pro men? Are they allowed to draft off them?
No, you can't draft off of any men whatsoever. You can only draft off of women if you're in the women's race.
Can pro men draft off the women if they get caught?
Yeah.
Let's make this equal.
That's a good question.
If you can't, then what do you have to do? Like if you're just ride next to each other or leave a gap, I guess?
I don't even know how they're enforcing it, right? Because it's not like there's people watching every mile of the course, you know?
Yeah, it's just open to...
Was there any
people claiming things?
You think there was a single spectator that wasn't either at the aid station or at the finish line or the start line?
No. No. I mean, there were
that
probably
wanted to be a spectator that wasn't just like a farmer or something.
I was about to say there were probably farmers.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see Annika Langvad down here in 8th place. Impressive. Lauren Stevens, 11th, after being second a couple days earlier in the women's, or a week before in the women's road race.
Yeah, so Lauren Stevens was in the break of 3. So the break of 3 was Carolina, Cicely Decker, and Lauren Stevens.
Wow.
So Lauren Stevens fell off that break. Good on
Big
Cicely.
Time. She wasn't even in the top 10.
Yeah, good on Cicely Decker for sticking with it all the way to the end. Like, Cicely Decker was also so strong at Sea Otter. Like, from what I watched of the Sea Otter coverage, like, again, I wasn't in the women's race, so I don't know, but she looked like she was doing all of the pulling. And then the only reason why Sophia beat her at the end is because Sophia drafted her like almost the entire last lap, and then on the last climb, Sophia put in a dig and dropped her. But for a race like Unbound, Cicely Decker's really freaking strong.
It was 19 minutes to 3rd place.
Yeah,
from 1st place to 3rd place.
Yeah,
dang.
Yeah. How? I mean, you know what I feel like is a little bit of a bummer. Carolina was only less than 4 minutes away from doing a sub 10, which would have been the first sub 10 women's result ever. You know, I mean, it's going to happen. Like, a woman's going to go sub 10 eventually, but how sick would it be to get the first sub 10?
Do you think it happens next year?
I mean, it's all condition dependent, right? Like, conditions were definitely good this year for going fast. But if conditions are fast again, I would say absolutely it happens next year. I mean, every year gets faster, so.
Of course. Yeah, the competition is just always going upwards, as we well know.
All right, I think I'm going to go.
All right, well, that's it.
All right. I have to get back to doing nothing and sitting on the couch, so see you guys.
All right, man. See ya.
Don't make us like, what are you supposed to feel bad for you? Like, you're going to hit us with the most depressing thing right at the end? Dang.
Yeah.